Hey gang, Shonda, you're looking very color. Have you seen Joyce and Jamie? You should see them today. Yes, dressed. We're gonna get started because we have an awesome guest, Kit Cummings, better known as Terry's husband.
No, it's better known as Kit Cummings and
I just with this drive. So, anyway, this is on the screen because I sent everybody a text about putting your big toe in the command water. So, seriously, by the end of August, I want everybody in the office to have at least done these 3 things. And if you have, no clue, I'm here to help. So, text me back and tell me if you want to meet with me. I will be scheduling a class. These are minor, but if you haven't done anything, it's probably you don't even know where to start. So, I think I'm going to follow this up with at least an email with some, links and stuff like that. Okay. Anybody spent some time in command already that can? They're getting ready. Yes.
Can I just interject? I was in another office that did have the training day on that or whatever. This is absolutely awesome for you guys. Seriously, I saw it in motion. If any of you are familiar with Salesforce or any other CRM tool, it actually almost trumps that. But you guys are so fortunate to have this technology in-house. And what you can do, they were doing something with the open houses, and there's templates, and you can just...
Oh yeah, flyers. I was playing in that yesterday.
So I hope you guys all
Beautiful.
Enjoy it. I did see it at a time.
And the best thing is one-stop shop. Go one destination. So, come on in, Renee. We're glad you're here. Hey, Laura. Well, has everybody come in from the atrium conference room?
They couldn't make an announcement. We totally weren't watching the time. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
We apologize.
Oh, I know. I want to get on with it. So, what we want to do first, however, because we want to give all our time to Kit, but we have some special caravans today. So, who is going to announce about Cynthia's caravan? I guess I will. So, our dear Cynthia Pierce has a gorgeous listing right here in Sandy Springs, and it's part of a 3-home caravan. She is having Village Burger cater lunch at her caravan. I mean, you just can't beat that. There's another one of them is having dessert and champagne, and another a cash grab bag, and I think you have to, and then they have a drawing for $750, but you have to visit all 3. What's not to like? Gorgeous homes, Sandy Springs. Please support Cynthia. I promise we'd have a big turnout. And we're going to end on time, and it is 11:30 to 2, so there's flexibility there. Okay, big turnout. Are there any other caravans in the office today? Okay, do we want to do listings? Yes, can we quickly do listings, new listings, so that we can, yes ma'am, RJ.
We have a new one coming in the next week or 10 days in Brook Farm. It has a a guest suite on the main that could be turned into a master, and then another master up, or a regular master up. Beautiful lot, gorgeous backyard. Give us a call. It's going to be in the 7s if you need to see it early.
Great. Any other new listings coming on or buyer needs? Okay, awesome. Everybody looks so good. Kit, I don't know if you need an introduction. So Kit is Terry's husband, as I said. I hope y'all read. Woo!
Set my timer.
Oh, good.
Go ahead.
Good. Kit comes to talk to us about twice a year, maybe?
Yeah, once or twice.
He's a friend of Brad's. Don't hold that against him. And they got, he ministers to prisoners and youth and helps let people find out that there is another way.
Perfect.
And he's got tats up his arm, and they all mean something. I remember that.
Perfect intro. First of all, I appreciate Brad having me. I was disappointed when I heard he was on the road, but who knows? I don't know if people watch these things online. But and also just want to excuse my casual attire. I came from working with Milton's football team early this morning, headed to North Atlanta's football team, then getting on the road to Selma, go work with their football team. So this is my work with football team thing. So we're going to have a football theme today. Is that all right?
It's almost football season.
That's what I thought. All right, one thing I got to get off my chest because it'll get in the way, you know, when I'm trying to, when you get ready to speak, got to clear out any kind of distraction, right? I've got a crush on your productivity coach. I don't think she's in here yet, so keep it to yourself. But she's just so smart, so pretty, and so funny, and so. I love being introduced as Terry's husband.
That doesn't happen very often.
I love it. I do get to say, and he gets tired of me saying this, but it's right to say it. The course of my work took a drastic turn in 2008, and I was speaking at a Keller Williams sales meeting, I think East Cobb. Deborah Blue was the team leader then. And I had started dabbling around with working with a couple people that had been in jail, a kid that was in major trouble, and I was working with him, and so I think my heart was kind of just soft for it. I'd never done much of that before. And I've been in the speaking business for a long time in different ways. And all of a sudden I'm at this thing, and we're actually filming it, or I think we were making a CD that day. And out of the overflow of the heart, the mouth speaks. And I just said, man, I was teaching these attitude science principles, which Brad wanted me to kind of do a version of today. And so I was teaching them, and right in the middle of it, I said, man, I would love to take these principles into the prisons, but I can't figure out how to get in there. And I made a little joke, said I can get in, just can't get back out, and everybody goes. And so afterwards, Deborah walked up to me and said, call this guy. He'll get you in. And I looked, and it was some guy named Brad Fineman. I'd never known Brad, never met Brad, hadn't heard of Brad, but I called him up, and we hit it off just like that. He did get me in my first prison because he was working with a prison ministry group called Kairos. And I went, and that weekend in October of 2009 changed my life. And it led to the formation of 3 companies, a radio show, a world tour, 6 books. It just led to a lot. And so I always thank Brad for being the guy. Now notice that, why did Deb refer me to Brad?
I don't know.
Brad had this, we call it mind share, right? Because when I said, man, I wish we'd get into prisons, she went, Brad. Just like now I said, prison and Brad, but hey, I can tell you, I spend a whole lot of times in prisons. Brad ain't built for it. He's just not. None of us are, okay? But it's become the great work of my life, and it was because he had mind share, right? When somebody said that word, Deb went, Brad, all right? Now, in sales, obviously, that's a big deal, right? You guys talk about market share. You want to own whatever your little market is, not just as a company, but as an individual. But you want, when a topic or a subject comes up at a party, at a cocktail hour, at a mixer, at a networking event, people go, oh, Sheila. Man, you got to call her. She's this, right? People got to know. They got to know what's up. Today, Attitude Science, as you got on the flyer, if you saw that, and we invited you guys to come, is a platform that I created, honestly, when I was at a point in my life where I was trying to put things back together. Because right around the middle of life, man, life just showed up in a big way. And it had to do with family, and it had to do with health, and it had to do with finance and career. It was just like, have you ever been through one of those times where life just happens, but a lot of it happens at one time? I got this back there going. You're going to give me an amen in a second, and then I'll stay all day. But life happens. And it doesn't ask permission, and it doesn't get on your calendar, and it doesn't work around your schedule. It just happens. The more times you've been around the sun, your kids are growing older, maybe you've been married for a long time, maybe you started a new relationship, maybe a baby was born or somebody passed. You guys are in an industry where you're helping people when the storms come in life, but also when the opportunities come. People that you're reaching out to today, some of them have just been let go. Some of them have just been promoted. Some of them have just been transferred. Some of them just went through a divorce. Some of them just had a baby. Some of them just got an inheritance. Some of them are looking at bankruptcy. You know, it's like, man, they started a new job. They ended a job. They got transferred, promoted, whatever it is. You guys are dealing with people when life happens, right? And that's when the cracks are exposed. And that happened to me around the age of 40. And it was a season of life where a lot of things went away. And that created open space for new things to arrive. Best thing ever happened to me. So, wherever you are in life today, life is either happening all around you right now, or it will. And it's not bad, it's not good, it's just life. It is what it is. And so about that time, about 10 years ago, actually 11 years ago, I started putting together my process for doing life. And it was a way for me to kind of reconstruct things. And it had to do with my faith, and it had to do trying to get my head right, and it was about getting my heart soft again and finding my passion. And so I put together 12 principles that became guideposts and anchors and building blocks for how I would do life. And what started out as just some ideas led to me recording them, and then I started kind of speaking around them. And you know how it is when you start teaching something, you really get it deep into the heart and mind, right? And that's what I did. Attitude science, the way I define it, well, first of all, let me ask you. If I say, define the word attitude, what do you say? Flags, what's up, bro? How do you define the word attitude?
Mindset.
Mindset.
The response.
Response? Ooh, that's good. What else?
It's the way you look at things.
The way you look at things. Anybody else?
Or reaction.
Pardon?
Reaction.
Reaction? Absolutely. All those are right. It's one of those words that's kind of hard to defend, but you know what it is, right? Especially with kids. You ever had kind of teenage kids? You better straighten that attitude, young man. What are we saying to them? You better change the way you're looking at things, right? You better step back right now and readjust. And so what I created was, I see it as a lens. If you think of attitude as a lens through which you see the world. Okay, so today, if we have 60 people in the room, we have 60 different lenses, period. There's no way anybody has the same one. The prescription I have for my glasses are not the same as Terry's. Okay, they're different prescriptions, different lenses, because we don't see things the same way. Distances, shapes, whatever. And then the eyes change over time. I always had eagle-eye vision until I was about, I don't know, late 40s, and then I didn't. It was just like, it seemed like overnight, but then it was gradually where, you know, corrective lenses were important. Well, today, you see the world the way you see it. You don't see it like your neighbor because they don't have your experiences. Where you were born, what part of the world, what part of the country, what part of the state. Were you born into a family that is a big family where everybody's together, or was it not? Was it a smaller family? Was it a two-parent household, or was it not? You know, black, white, brown, Christian, Muslim, Jew, east side, west side, conservative, liberal, illegal, legal, black lives, all lives, blue lives. Pick a label, right? We're in a divided world where everybody's trying to pick a label, right? And so we develop this identity of who I am, and then we start looking at the color of the skin, and uh-oh, he's got ink on the skin. What does that mean? And we start to notice there's a difference in me and you. We judge things, we label things. We live in a society right now, we're bombarded by the news. Does anybody let the news control them? Don't raise your hand. But there's got to be somebody in here that's addicted to the drama. And it's not because you necessarily want it, it's a habit. It's what you're used to. I got to stay clued in. I got to make sure, see what this happening. This coming up election cycle is going to be a trip. A lot of spectators. Buckle your seatbelts. I decided I wasn't going to watch it anymore. I read my news. And I do it 2 or 3 times a day. Just check into both sides. All right, I see what Fox is saying about the big stories I need to know about. I hunt and peck and read. Then I go to CNN, see what they're saying about the stories, and then I hunt and peck and read, period. I don't look at it anymore. I don't want to hear anybody talking about it. I don't want to see all the videos. I just want to know the information. Because it wasn't doing anything good for the lens through which I see the world. I don't want to see us and them. I don't want to see color. I don't want to see, smart and not so much. I want to see good guys and bad guys. Man, I just want to see life, hopefully the way he sees it. You know, I want my lens to be one that helps me to see clearly. But today, your lens is going to be affected by what the world is going to show you in the news, on your social media. Does your social media make you more powerful or less powerful? For real? Somebody in here has got to say more powerful.
I like it.
You like it? That wasn't the question. It's like, Jack Daniels make you more powerful or less? I like it. I'm just playing. No, but I appreciate that. Would you say it brings power into your life?
Not power, but connectivity.
Okay, absolutely. And a lot of people find power and fulfillment through connection, right? So it's all how you see it. Because some people today, social media is going to steal their power. And what I'm trying to do today is protect my power and protect my peace. Because if I stay in a peaceful state, then there's going to be power in my life. And today's going to be a pretty good day. That's why my company is called The Power of Peace. Because those are my 2 anchors right there, right? Okay, so today, I want to introduce you to the one I call Uncle G. Uncle G is 3.5 pounds of gray fatty matter teeming with electromagnetic chemical energy and 100 billion neurons that communicate with one another in a quadrillion number of ways through neurotransmitters and fascinating chemistry. And it allows you to do you and to see the world and to judge and to process and deliberate and calculate and make decisions, store away, remember, form habits and repetitions, dream and imagine, which is a really sophisticated part of this thing. Now, the reason I call him Uncle G, twofold. One, he is not you and you are not him. Now, that makes sense, right? Are you your thoughts?
Yes.
What do you think? Are you your thoughts?
No, my thoughts are terrible.
I like you. We got one honest one in your room. I love social media. My thoughts are horrible. I love it. You're going to do awesome. Where was I? Somebody help me.
Are you your thoughts?
Oh, yeah. All right. I would propose this. Okay. One day, all of us, let's just keep it real, are either going to be put in a box or an urn. And a bunch of people are going to gather around and say some wonderful things about us. Hopefully. That's the goal. And would you agree that whatever is left in the box and whatever is in the urn is not you? Would you agree? Right? That's the tent. That's all it is. It's the vessel. All right? So that means the blood pumping heart, it's our heart. Oh no, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. But same with the brain. The brain is this amazing technology. It's this 3.5 pound universe. But it's so sophisticated. It talks in your voice. The voice in the head? The one that sometimes you forget is even talking? I mean, have you ever gone a whole day and never even got involved in the conversation? He's a learning machine and he's a storyteller. The reason I call him Uncle G, because he's the original Google. I mean, think about life before Google.
Yeah.
How did we know anything? How did we get anywhere without GPS? I have a hard time getting places with GPS. I don't know how. We pull out an atlas that was about this big. Remember back in the day? You get old and you start saying, back in the day. So the original Google, he can find, create, discover, invent, patent. He started revolutions. He put a man on the moon. One thought in the mind of one of these little devices produces everything that we see. This company was an idea. A couple of friends down in Texas. It was an idea. When the idea came, did they know it was going to be the biggest and best real estate company in the world? No, it was just an idea. That's the power of an idea. This dude right here, NASA, IBM, the Defense Department, NSA, Homeland Security, the ones that have the most incredible computers. When I say it's not even close, it's not even in the same universe as the capacity of this thing right here. I mean, everything you've ever smelled, heard, tasted, touched, felt, every experience, every interaction, every phone call, every song and movie and TV show and best friends and dates and tough things are all filed away. It's just a matter of accessing the information that's already there. Right now, I could say, all right, here's what I want you to do. I want you to remember your first kiss. Go. Anybody not there yet? I bet you anything. How long did it take you? Not long. Now, no disrespect, I was 12. Laurie Tucker, 12 years old, playing Spin the Bottle. I remember the room. I remember on the song was Paul McCartney and Wings, Silly Little Love Song. I remember every detail, and it was the worst kiss in the world. Uncle G thought it was significant because it was new. It was new information, right? He works on patterns and habits habitually. He has to. Uncle G is a learning machine, a storyteller, and a junkie. Think about it like that. He learns all day long, and all he's doing is he is sorting through everything that you look at, everything you talk about, everything you dwell on, everything you watch, play, hear, see. He is judging it and trying to figure out what is important to her. And then he lays patterns and pathways and habits and then shoves it down into the subconscious, which is good news or bad news. Because if you've got habits that do not serve you, that are on a heavy rotation, but they live in this 97% murky water that you're not even aware is driving your ship. That's why we got to get involved in the conversation. Today you're going to have 40 to 50,000 unique thoughts. And that's an average day, right? And it means just throughout the day, you got 86,400 seconds today. You ever feel like you don't have enough time? You got just as much as everybody else, no more, no less. It's how you invest it. So if somebody followed me around today, and we looked at that 86,400 seconds, and just saw what I invested it in, period. That's it. How much is invested in sleep? How much in eating? How much in my work? How much in my family? How much in my hobbies? How much driving? How much whatever? What do you think after about a week, if you played the tapes and you were able to just calculate how much, could you tell me what's important to me? Good, couldn't you? Well, that's his job, 24/7. He is not built to make you happy. He's built to keep you alive. All right? He is a survival mechanism. He doesn't have unique thoughts. He just push play and plays back recordings of conversations you've had with yourself. He plays back events that happened in the past, good, bad, shocking, funny. The more emotion in the memory, the more firmly ingrained, right? And so he just pushes play. Now here's the thing, the masses out there, nobody in here, are going to be used by their brain today instead of use their brain today, because they don't realize Uncle G is not me and I'm not him, and he must submit to me, period. It's not even supposed to be close. It's like, why in the world would I let my hand run me today? Whatever it wants to do, you know, I mean, you know, it's like, I wouldn't. He submits to me. Sorry about that, bro. This is an organ. It's just a part of it. It's going to be in the box, in the urn. Learn to use it and change the world. You think about a realtor that you admire and you would trade places with him or her in a second. Not their life, but their business. Okay, think about that person. Got him? Everybody's got somebody, right? This is your job. This is your game. This is your sport. You better have heroes. You better have people that you're emulating, trying to catch, right? This is a competitive sport. I know in Sandy Springs, Dunwoody, and you guys come from a lot of places to be a part of this thing. That's what I understand. Y'all are competing against who? Who's your biggest competition out there?
Zillow.
Okay, Zillow. There you go. Boom. Technology. I get it. But are you competing against one another? You better believe it. You're nice to one another and you help one another, but you better know you're competing. Y'all are all farming the same market, right? But who are you really competing against yourself today? Gave it away. Yeah, overflow of the heart. Nah, man, I'm competing with me today. And you are competing with you. Here's the bottom line. Today, can I keep the promises that I made to myself? Period. I use it so much because it's a great Keller story, but I don't know if anybody thought when I said, who do you emulate? Did anybody think of Chris Heller? Does anybody know who he is? To the young guys, maybe not, Kevin? He's one of the kind of original ones that blew up big. San Diego was his market. And you know the red book that you guys read, kind of the real estate Bible, you know, that your guy created? The whole 7-level have it all, step out of the business and it pays you, you know, that deal. All right, he's lived it, right? So he's made gazillion dollars. He's sitting on a panel in Austin, Texas, at the family reunion, and I happened to be there with Terry, and somebody asked him a question. There was questions going on out in the audience, right? And they said, what is the most important thing that you'll do as a realtor today? That's a dang good question, isn't it? What do you think his answer was? Like guess, not rhetorical.
Lead generate.
Lead generate. That's always one of the first guesses. Okay, anybody else?
Be his best self.
Be his best self. Okay, good. Make sure he's a good guy there in his business. Anybody else?
Manage his attitude.
Manage his attitude. That's a full-time job, isn't it?
It is.
Yep. Until you get, if Uncle G figures out the way you do life, is I love making people feel good. I love making strangers laugh. I like encouraging people. I like taking people that are down and lifting them up. And if that is my regular, and I love to do it, you know what? That's what Uncle G will protect. That will become your lens. And anything that tries to threaten that, he'll step out and protect it for you, right? You know what he said? It was so simple. He said, most important thing I'm going to do today is follow my schedule.
Oh, that's so boring. But that's what they say.
So simple, right? Why is that the most important thing? Because you're figuring out basically how am I going to invest my 86,400 seconds. If we had a game where every morning at 5 a.m. $86,400 was deposited into your account, that'd be a good game, wouldn't it? What if this was the deal? You have to spend it by midnight, use it or lose it. Because every night at midnight, it goes to zero. And then every 5 a.m., 86,400. And you get to invest it however you want, but you got to spend every penny every day. And you can't do stuff like, I'm going to invest it all. I mean, it's like you have to buy things, right? You could tell a couple of things. What's important to you by what you invest your money in, right? That's a good way to see. Money's good for the good that it can do. I learned that from y'all. But it also, it would say so much about what your schedule is. What is the most important to you? Okay? And Terry and I say if it's not in the calendar, it doesn't exist. I learned that from y'all too. I learned a lot from y'all. If it's not there, it doesn't exist. One, because I'm a knucklehead and I can't operate without it. I'm just moving too fast, right? I got to have it. But it's more than just something to keep me on track. I can look at my schedule and say, are the most important things in my life factored into how I'm investing that $86,400 today? Do I get enough sleep? Do I exercise? Do I feed myself right? Do I spend wonderful time with the love of my life? How do I work my business? Right? Super, super important. But here's where Uncle G comes in. He protects habits and patterns because he doesn't feel anything. He's designed to keep you alive, and you've trained him to think that's very, very important. Okay? So if at 2 o'clock is when you do your social media, and you do it every day, and you get on there and just read, and you get into the drama, you know, and you see, man, they're fighting again. You know, you got your side, or maybe you even jump on somebody's wall and start, I mean, I will cut you loose quick if you spew hate on my wall. You start arguing politics, and that's not something I just posted about. Delete. I'm not gonna let you be in my energy, right? So it's basically you get to choose today. And so at 2 o'clock, if that's drama time and it's entertaining, sorry. Guess what Uncle G learns? Remember I said he's a learning machine. He's a storyteller. But then what was the third thing I said he was?
Junkie.
A junkie. Okay, what do I mean by that? He's a chemist, man. Right now, if you have a fear thought, if somebody came in and said, somebody ran to, time out, kid, come here. So-and-so's been hurt in an accident. And I'd be like, maybe it's a loved one. What would I do? Would I say, thanks, sir, but I'm really contracted for 45 minutes, so I'll be with you in a few minutes. Would I do that? No. That was just a string of words that came into my ear, vibrated a membrane, sent a message to the auditory cortex, and all of a sudden my brain went, huh? It was information. Happened to be English, just guttural utterances that added up to somebody you love's in trouble. What chemistry is going to be produced? Adrenaline. Say again? Adrenaline. That's the fight or flight response. Okay, God put this superhuman drug in us to where we're in trouble and we need to fight to survive or flee to survive. We have a powerful drug. It's our speed, it's our meth, it's all these things that we try to create as humans to mimic what we already have. All right? If I ran to the door and right away they stopped me at the door and said, no, time out, false alarm, it's not them. Okay, what would Uncle G do now? What would he produce?
Crash.
Anybody know?
Serotonin.
Say it again.
Serotonin.
Serotonin, absolutely. Serotonin, that's the brain's Klonopin, Valium. That's what it does. Serotonin is it'll even make you kind of fall down. It's like, whew, let me get out of myself. This is good news, but it's more than just, okay, now you're at the banquet that you guys have, and it's the drum roll, Realtor of the Year, and all of a sudden your name, guess what Uncle G does? What's he going to blast? Dopamine. Dopamine is what all dope fiends are chasing. Heroin, meth, opioids, all these things are chasing something we already possess. Uncle G is a chemist. But here's the thing. You have patterns and I have patterns about how do I start my day? How do I end my day? What are the elements of my day? There's chemistry wrapped around every bit of it. Drama in the afternoon, you're going to get a little shot of adrenaline. Guess what? 50 trillion cells in your body are expecting that adrenaline at 2 o'clock. And so it'd be like, got to get into that. It becomes an addiction. Doesn't mean you're a full-blown addict. We're all little junkies in one way or another. We have our little things. But there's chemistry behind it. And understand now, Uncle G, he is a storyteller. I was doing a little tour several years ago, and it was San Francisco, Sacramento, Reno. And I had a guy that I was traveling with and training. So we flew out there. We stayed in San Francisco, and then the next morning, we were going to San Quentin. Okay, because we were going to go do that prison, this famous prison. I like to go in as many prisons as I can, especially the famous ones. And so we get up that morning, and I'm like, okay, Gary, Starbucks. We got to get some Starbucks. Side story. I had my son, we were going to the movie, this is a while back, and I'm driving, he's in the passenger seat, and we're going to a movie. I have a destination, I know where the movie is, been there a million times, right? We start driving, and we start talking. As we start talking, Uncle G is doing what, I don't have to think about driving. Uncle G has got that on lock. You've done it so many times. You don't have to concentrate on it. So I'm concentrating on Cole, and I'm driving, and then we finally get to our destination. I pull up, guess where I am? I'm at Starbucks. I'm not at the movies. And the reason why, because Uncle G, if not given proper information, instruction, will go, got you, boss. I know you always go here first. And so what did I do? Got me a tasty beverage, then we went to the movie. So that's my thing. So back to the story. So San Francisco, I'm like, bro, we got to get our Starbucks. We're running late. We're trying to get San Quentin. There ain't no Starbucks because this is like in this little part of San Francisco going across the street. And so I'm like, okay, it's all right. We'll be good. We'll just go do San Quentin first. So we go in there 2 hours. All right. Now 7 a.m. here is when I have my coffee, right? 7 a.m. there is 10 a.m. for Uncle G. You with me? Okay, so at 7 a.m. my mouth's getting kind of watering a little bit, and I'm like, let's find Starbucks. Well, then couldn't do it. So then we get in, and I'm so pumped up in San Quentin, I don't got to worry about that then. Uncle G's very focused, very busy. We get out. Now it's like 12. All right, San Francisco time, which is 3 o'clock Uncle G time, right? Uncle G standard time. And so we get in the car, start heading to Reno. So we have a gig at the college, University of Reno, Las Vegas, whatever you call it. Bye-bye. And all of a sudden, what started happening? Boom, 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 boom. All right, I started getting a headache. I'm like, oh man, a headache. I don't need a headache today. We got to do this gig. And so then it started really pounding. And then nausea set in. And now all of a sudden, I start going, dang, I feel like I'm getting sick, bro. I don't ever get sick. I mean, I really don't. And so I feel like I have a flu. Well, we get on down the road. Now we're in the desert on the way thing. And I'm like, bro, I feel like I'm going to get sick. Find a gas station or something. So we get a gas station. I go in and I just want some carbonation. And so I get a Diet Coke, get back in the car. I said, I'm just going to crash, man. Keep driving. I took 2 sips of the Diet Coke. And what happened?
Wake up.
I was fine. I went, bro, I'm healed. I mean, I didn't even know what happened. I want you to understand the power of that. Now, most time we think, yeah, I'm addicted to caffeine. Yeah, but all it is Uncle G is a junkie, and he's used to getting that spike right in the morning. And so he goes, I'm going to make your mouth water. All right, now, I got to get your attention. A little bit of a headache. Give me what I want. And then it's like, hey, big headache. All right, I'll make you puke. That's what we got to do. And guess who won? Uncle G won. He got his caffeine and he said, all right, let's go to Reno. Was I sick? No, I didn't have a virus. I didn't have a bacterial infection. I just had an addiction. Okay, we're addicted to the things that we do on the regular, good and bad. The things you really, really want to change. Like I want you to think of the one thing that would just change your business forever. It's one activity. If you could install this particular activity into the right slot every day, same time, do the same process, do it enough that Uncle G gets it on lock and pushes it down to the subconscious. That's what successful people do. Chris Heller said, I follow my schedule. Now, somebody says, well, what's your schedule? It's like, well, he's got that figured out. Do you think he does the same things every day? Now, no, I'm not saying does he not create new things, but are there certain standards that he's learned that work in any kind of business, right? Do the right things at the right times over and over and over until it becomes a habit, and now you just add your flair to it there. That's why scripts are important. That's why lead gen is important. Typically, same time every day. It's not just because that's when people are most likely to pick up. You are trying to train Uncle G. Does that make sense? Okay, so I'm going to finish out here with a little story. To recap, Uncle G is not you. You are not him. He's a learning machine. He's a storyteller. He's a junkie. He relies, survives on patterns and habits. All he does is check what you're doing the most, put it on wrap, put it in the subconscious so you can be free to do more stuff. Whatever you do the most, Uncle G is very good at. He gets really good at that. Complaining, he's not going to judge it. He's going to go, must be what we got to do to survive. He'll help you become an expert complainer. And what he'll do is he'll push play on your best complaints whenever he feels like that you usually do it. So when a hard day shows up, man, why I always got to be like this? How come I can be like her? Well, she ain't all that anyway. She's always got this. She always get this. I don't get that. Why? It's my husband. Man, if he'd get out there and work hard, I wouldn't have to do this. And then I could be more. Not saying anybody in here. It's your competition talking right there, right? You see, it's the voice in the head. Now, if you listen to him and don't get involved in the conversation, he will win, just like you won on the caffeine. See what I'm saying? So whatever complaining, excuse making, he's not going to say, no, we're not going to make a habit around that because it's not good for you, kid. He's going to say, if you make excuses a lot, then that's how we survive. It is a coping mechanism. It's a way that I do life. When things get hard, I reach for my most sophisticated excuse and I start telling stories. Now, that's not a habit for success, But Uncle G could care less about your success. He's built to keep you alive, not to make you rich. Make sense? He will tell whatever stories you want to tell him. But I guarantee you this, the reason why successful people have some sort of method in the morning to get themselves right, it could be spiritual, it could be music, it could be aromatherapy, it could be a certain, scriptures you read, it could be a cup of coffee in your garden with your dog. Whatever you want it to be. It's what reboots Uncle G and gets your chemistry flowing right, gets a little serotonin going, sets you up for some dopamine and very little adrenaline if you don't need it, because adrenaline ages you and makes you stressed and anxious, goes to heart attacks eventually. That's fight or flight. That's the person in their head all day that Uncle G has just learned to tell stories that are scary, right? It's just information. What you watch, monitor it. What you listen to, pay attention. The conversations you have with other people, oh my gosh, you're laying down track now. Whatever comes out of your mouth is taking Uncle G's stories and putting them on steroids, and whatever we talk about, we create, right? And so he is your greatest asset, or he can be your nightmare, depending on who's going to win the battle today. Cool? So when you hear him complaining, say, hey, shut up, quarantine, delete, tell a new story. When you're reaching for that excuse, starting to complain, starting to blame somebody else, you say, man, those are weak, pitiful, impotent strategies for failure. I will not talk like that, Uncle G. Shut up. Here's what we're going to do. Affirmations. Why are affirmations so powerful? You're retraining Uncle G. That's all you're doing. These whole things that go around this. Okay, so example of this, just to wrap it all up. I get to work with kids 80% of my work, and then convicts about 20%. It used to be the opposite. And now it's all about kids and prevention, and I love working with athletes. It's become, I just love it. It's fun. And so one of my teams is Milton High School up there in Milton. And they invited me in, and last summer we started this project with their football team. And what we have, like right now, we have 8 football teams that are competing in our Protect the Dream program. Protect the Dream helps kids get a big dream, bigger than themselves, a dream that scares them. We teach them to set goals, write those goals down, SMART goals, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time-bound. We help them write them down and review them every day. They get power partners, 2 are better than 1. When I'm weak, you're strong. You can lift me up. We have group competitions. They get quotes every day. They get an action challenge every day. The whole thing is about reprogramming Uncle G around your dream, and then we teach them to protect that dream from the dream killers. And so we have 7 dream killers: bullying, drugs and alcohol, disrespect of authorities, unhealthy relationships, objectifying classmates, irresponsible social media, and lowering scholastic standards. Things that can kill a young person's dream. And we teach them to retrain Uncle G, get it going. So I came in and started working with a football team, working with 8 other football teams, and they're competing, right? So I come in the first day of summer workouts, and I say, what's your dream? And what did they say collectively? Say again? Win a state championship. Milton's been a school for 100 years, and they've never won a state championship. Okay, I can go to, God bless them, Osborne High School, that they don't win a game all year in a year. It's very, very tough. And maybe one day they will, but they just get their brains free all the time. If I get in front of them and say, what's your dream? What thing I say? State championship. God bless y'all. Love y'all. All right, you know the words to say, what's your dream? And you go, Cap. Mega. Whatever your next thing is, right? We know it, but do you believe it? That's the thing. So they said the right thing. They had a dream, man. They wanted to do something nobody's ever done. They wanted to make history, right? And so we set out and we started rolling. So we got together every week and we started to build through a leadership, inner core of leaders on that team that could set the pace in there. It's like your ALC, right? So many similarities. And so we worked with them. They had a pretty good year. They started out strong and they beat a team they shouldn't have beat. Kind of got everybody's attention. Nobody saw them coming. Next game, but then all of a sudden they slipped up and lost to a team they shouldn't have lost to. So now they're going to be tested. How do you handle defeat? How do you handle a bad month? How do you handle a bad year? How do you deal with failure, right? So they bounce back and they lose another one. Now all of a sudden they've lost 2 in a row. They could have said, oh well, not this year, but they didn't. They bounced back in WWWWW. They finished 8-2, went into the state playoffs. All right, so now they're in the playoffs. They've never gone very deep. They've made it a couple times. They win their first game, should have won it. Win the second game, that one, they should have gotten beat. All of a sudden, they find themselves in the semifinals, and they're playing Lowndes County. Anybody know Lowndes County? Valdosta. That's where football is a religion. I'm serious. Big old guys. I mean, it's serious. So everybody's like, oh, well, good run, Milton. But Milton believed. And in the rain, and I'm on the sideline almost every weekend, and I'm out there, and it's pouring down rain, and they're in a battle. They get way up, and they're starting to think about the state championship game. It's going to be at the Mercedes-Benz, the newly constructed Mercedes-Benz. But they screw up, and they can't protect the lead. How do you do when you get out to a great start? And it's like, this is going to be the year of my life, and then all of a sudden, crickets. 2 or 3 months, and you start going, you start adjusting your goals, get realistic. You know what I'm saying? They didn't protect the lead. All of a sudden, Lowndes came roaring back, and it was a game, but they won. Milton came back, pushed the gas, ended up winning that game. Now, all of a sudden, what they dreamed of doing was right in front of them. They were going to play Colquitt County in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium for God and everybody in December. It's past December. Anybody ever heard of Colquitt?
Yep.
Colquitt's Valdosta, and they beat the brains out of Lowndes. They're the number 1 team in the country at the time. 14-0. Nobody has even gotten close to challenging them. They got 300-pound guys across the front. They look like a dang Alabama team or something. I'm just like, and there's little Milton. No, they're good. They had some studs, but anyway, it was just when your dream is right in front of you, like everything you've ever dreamed of, right there. And maybe you're closer to it than you ever know, right? But they knew it this night. That week, here's what I told them. I got to do the locker room the week before, and I got to do the inspirational before the game on the main game. And I told them what I'm going to tell you. I said, get real specific about what you want. Like real specific. Can you answer the question, what's your dream? Win state. Like, dream's right there. All you got to do is ask me. Or if I say, what's your dream? You go, I don't know. It's okay. Don't be mad at yourself. But why live without a big dream? You know what I'm saying? Something that pulls you. Big dreams can pull you through things that jam everybody else up. The big thing pulls the small thing. The sun pulls the planet, and the planet pulls the moon, and the moon pulls the tide, and the tides pull the river, and the river pulls the stream. The big thing pulls the small thing. The big dream will pull you through the sniffles, a bad market, hardship, difficulty, distraction, discouragement. Big dream will pull you through the things that jam up your competition. And so they had the big dream. I said, okay, now, I want you to want it so hard that you're willing to get a broken heart if you don't get it. Now think about how important that is. We live in a world today where people are setting their expectations in a safe place where they won't be hurt because we've been heartbroken. And we don't want to be heartbroken again. It hurts. And so what we're tempted to do is I'm just going to set my goals in a real reasonable place right here, and we never find out what we could really be. I said this week I want you to want it so bad that you are going to get your heart just slayed wide open on Wednesday night if you don't get it. Could you do that? Could you live the second half of this year wanting your goals so bad? If you don't have any, can you make them and allow yourself to want them? And then I said activate your imagination. I want you to act as if you already have it. Start imagining perfection. So we started talking that week in the locker room. Man, I want you to feel it. I want you to see confetti fall from the sky. I want you to see Gatorade being dumped on the coach. I want you to see the water battle in the locker room as you guys make history. I want you to see it right now. Because Uncle G doesn't know the difference in imagination and reality. That's why you wake up in the middle of the night having a heart because you had a dream. He doesn't know the difference. He's doing what he does. And so I said, imagine it, bring emotion into it. And then lastly, I want you to claim it. I said, why don't you go ahead and claim it? They're not going to claim it. Why you gotta wait till Wednesday night? Claim it. Some of y'all believe this in a spiritual sense, right? Claim it. Say you want it, snatch it, own it, protect it. I said tonight when they come out there, these 300-pound mammoths, they try to take what's yours. I said you bust them in the mouth. And we got colorful in the locker room. And that night, miracles happened. The ball bounced one way instead of the other. A penalty, a callback, a bomb, a stop. Miracles were happening, and they stayed in the game with this big national champion Colquitt, Lil Milton. That morning, I said, tonight, there will be a moment, and you'll know the game is on the line, and I need somebody to grab that moment and get everybody up. Sure enough, there's a minute left. I'm on the sideline. I'm nervous as I've ever been. And there's a timeout. It's 4th down. Colquitt has the ball. If they get a first down and another, they're going to kick field goal and win. It's 14-13. And so the huddle is right here in front of me, and I can hear them. And I'm sitting there like this. And all of a sudden, one of those boys did what I said. He said, "Come on, fellas, let's go. This is ours." And he started getting everybody fired up. They started boom, boom. You've seen them, right? Colquitt's over there like, they come together. One of those little Milton guys squeezes between a couple of the big mammoths and he hits the quarterback. The ball falls to the ground. Milton takes over. Victory formation. Confetti falls from the sky. Gatorade's dumped on the coach. The water battle begins. And on the next day in the paper, it says, Milton makes history. And they did what hadn't been done in 100 years. And they're calling it the biggest upset in the history of 7A college football in Georgia. Coach came into my office about a month or so after that, and he was wearing this ring, and I was like, oh my gosh, let me see it. You ought to see it. It's big diamonds. And I was like, can I see it? And he goes, well, tell you what, once you have one, and I got a ring. I got me a bling ring right there. Look how big that ring. Figure out what your ring is. Go for it. Why not? What you got to lose? Nothing. But don't play it safe. Give Uncle G some new material. Tell some new stories today. Delete anything that's getting in your way. You run him. Don't let him run you. And then maybe you have the year of your life too. God bless. Thank you.
And we recorded it on YouTube, so everybody can watch it again. Oh, I love it. I love it. We have 3 more things. First, Kit's wife. Come and do your
You have no idea how much I am called Kit's wife. I mean, we have been all over this country. And I'm not kidding. I have been in Mega Camp with 10,000 other agents going through the cow call to get to lunch, and we're exchanging cards. This is in Austin, Texas, and I give them my card. And he says, Cummings, I know a Kit Cummings. I'm like, wait, we've been walking through a parking lot in Tampa, Florida. Kit! You know, I mean, always. Only one time have I ever been introduced Kit has been introduced as Terry's husband, and that was when I became president of the Cobb Board of Realtors.
And they called me the first dude.
Yeah, when I was president of the Cobb Board of Realtors. Anyway,
So who are you proud of today?
I am proud of Roshonda. Oh,
girl.
Congratulations. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you.
It was a ring.
All right, Miss I am so proud of you. Thank you. Which hat?
In the business, not quite 2 years.
Yep.
Alrighty. Mike with Carpet Direct, please come and tell us about your services, because he brought us breakfast. Thank you very much.
Simply put, I'm here to help you close sales. If you're not familiar with Carpet Direct, we deal in all types of flooring, not just carpeting, even refinishing hardwoods. So for those of you who haven't heard, our business model is a little unique in that we try to keep overhead as low as possible. We're headquartered out of Tulsa, Oklahoma, been around since 1979, been in the Atlanta area over 10 years. We do not do any advertising. We do not have warehouses. I'm the showroom. So, bottom line, I'm here to help you make sales. That's about it.
And Mike, do you have cards back there?
Yes, I do.
Awesome. I just sent plaques to fetch Renee, who is here but stepped out for call, so we'll see if she has words of wisdom. And Diane has announcements.
No, just one real quick. Shelby, will you share that, please?
Oh, Melissa.
Melissa.
That's okay.
Or
Nobody knows
Melissa.
how bad I am with it. Anyway. Melissa Maya is going to be hanging out with us for a couple of months. She's from the West Cobb office, but she's got some business on this end of town. It's going to keep her in our office for a while. So, you see her, give her a warm welcome, and welcome.
Thank you.
Right. We lost Venetia. I know she had a big birthday. Well, Renee, I think she's blown it. Anybody else have major announcements? No? Clax? Okay. All right. Thank y'all for coming. Did everybody enjoy it? Yeah. Thank you. We'll see you next week.
We're all sitting.
We're glad you're here. Just send your family.